Hello everyone, welcome to another Malts and Meeples. I am Petter. I run Nerdologist as well as the Malts and Meeples streaming site. Malts and Meeples is a YouTube channel where we stream board games, solo played board games. In this case we're doing Pandemic Legacy. Pandemic Legacy is based off of the game Pandemic. If you haven't watched the first two videos, I highly recommend that you do so. That's going to help you figure out how the game is played, as I'll be going through fairly quickly now, just explaining new stuff more as they come up. And if you are enjoying the videos, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know if you're enjoying it. So before we hop into the game, let's talk about today's malt. Today's malt is from Southern Tier, and it's their 2X Smash, their double IPA. It's been a while since I've had this one, so let's get a refresher on what it's like. Very good hoppy flavor. Pretty citrusy hops in it. I enjoy it. I mean, I tend to like most IPAs and most doubles. This one is not too strong, and it is very cold, which is really nice for a day like today, which is quite warm. So let's hop into the game, and we'll pick up in the setup. You can see I have a chunk of the board already set up, but before we get any further, let's go through the Legacy deck. So, quick reminder as to what the Legacy deck is. I'm sorry for getting my arm in the way there. Legacy deck is a deck of cards which has, maybe in focus, which has the story of the game that we're playing. It tells you when to draw certain cards. It helps the story unfold further. This is the stack of cards that we're going to be going through before we get into March. So flip this. March mission briefing. And before I get further, I will correct a couple of mistakes. The quarantine specialist, I had her action, being able to place it anywhere on the board, that took an action. I was using it as a free action. Not how that one works. I'll get that corrected for this game. And the other one was I shouldn't have been able to put the improvement on this disease because it wasn't shoot, I just lost the word. Eradicated. There we are. From the map. And you're only able to make diseases better when they're eradicated. With that said, in the first game, I forgot to give an action, and there's really not that much you can do to go back and change and fix it in the game. So it's more important to consider, are you having fun in the game? And thus far I've been having a great time playing it, and I have to imagine that I'm going to continue doing that. So let's hop into the March mission briefing. You have been preparing for this contingency. Coda is causing a panic, so we've hired paramilitary assistance to help you with troubled spots. You are to partner with them to keep things under control until more research can be done on Coda. You also need to complete 2 objectives this month. We know you're up for the challenge. From this point on, whenever you see these circles, open and resolve them one at a time. So that tells me which of the doors I need to open. I have them down here this time. Starting with X. Of course, they are not super nicely laid out. Ooh, we now have clearance to open package 2. So X. Characters may take the military shuttle flight action between 2 military bases if their character has a military symbol on it. Players cannot fly between military bases and other structures. So, in other words, when we open up these military bases, we will be able to fly from one military base to another, but not from a military base to a research center. So we have our structures. Get this added into the rulebook where it has spot X. It tells us, from where we pulled this off, that we can now open package 2. Package 2 has our military bases. So, Aurora Monroe, you can see here, has the military symbol, whereas Peggy Carter and Kitty Pryde are both going to be direct employees of the CDC. So we've done that. Next it says 43. So we can find dossier number 43. So this tells me basically the exact same thing that was put in the book. How to travel between military bases. That gets added to the action card. You can see there are slots for more actions, and even more on this side. Let's see what 5 is. That's the last thing it's telling me to open. Oh, fun, some more scars. Hopefully we don't have to use those. So the scars are the negative things you get on your character when they are in a city where there's an outbreak. If that happens, you get a scar for your character. They have 2 scar slots. If if you would get a 3rd scar and you don't have a spot to put it, that character dies. So we've gone through the mission briefing. Flip the next one. Objective, eradicate at least 1 disease. So we have our mandatory one still of cure 3 diseases. Now we can have that objective, or we have objective, have a military base in each of the 6 major regions of the world. So you can probably just barely see, or see okay-ish. It looks like on the map we have these lines kind of breaking the world off into different pieces. We would need a military base in each one of these sections. We also have unlocked the operations expert. The operations expert, as an action, build a structure in the city you are in, no card required. Once per turn, as an action, move from any city containing a structure to any city, including rioting, falling, or collapsing, or fallen cities by discarding any city card. That is very nice, actually. We don't have much issues. We have a few cities. Move the quarantine markers out of the way. A few cities that have 1 level of rioting, so right now anybody can get into them easily. We also have this funded event that would allow us to place 1 military base for free. However, our funding level is precisely nothing, so that's not an issue for us. As for this game, we're now at the point where we pick characters. We have these, plus the additional 3 characters that we haven't used. I am going to continue using Storm and Peggy Carter, simply because with our co-worker ability, it's going to allow me to cure diseases a whole lot faster. Sticker doesn't want to stay down, so I'll get them set out here. Move my actions down here, and we'll give this a quick shuffle, then deal out 4 cards to each of them. Atlanta, Lima, Buenos Aires, Baghdad, Delhi, Ho Chi Minh City, Riyadh, and Bogota. And we'll figure out who goes first in a second here. But now comes a fairly boring part where I add in the epidemics. Give me a second for this. Pile shuffling is boring, however, since we are unlocking new characters, I want to give the option of picking that new character on camera. I want to go through that story bit with you, so let's quickly pile shuffled. They're too small to shuffle nicely. Seconds here. We'll start in Atlanta again with the characters. I believe we are technically allowed to start in any location containing a research station, so we could start in Tehran or Shanghai, but at this point in time it works just fine starting in Atlanta, to CDC headquarters. And we'll also infect here in a second. I'm going to give that pile a couple quick shuffles, because I don't remember if I shuffled the infection deck after last game. So we're looking for, now these are going to be the ones that start with 3. We have Taipei, Hong Kong, I guess we're going to go treat red, and Milan. I took everything, the diseases out of their plastic bags, as that was a bit noisy. Shanghai, New York, and Chicago. Well, so far this is nice because Coda will not be an issue for us. One in Johannesburg, and yellow is not going to be much of an issue for us. Riyadh, and Bogota. Now, before we go any further, we have our month-end bonus. Since we won in February, we are able to place a quarantine marker on anywhere on the board. I'm actually going to put it in Milan. Now let's shake this up. And the first player is going to be Peggy. Not really how I wanted to be first player, but we'll move this over here. We'll fly for second action. Shanghai. Go to Taipei for third. Cure disease for fourth. So now we only have one spot that's a concern, and that's only if we hit an epidemic at the beginning here. Tehran and Mexico City. So we have another yellow card that we can trade over. That's perfect. Now we have to flip to here. Mexico City and Madrid. Biggest issue for me still is in red. So I'll fly Shanghai for 1, walk to Hong Kong for 2, and cure 3 and 4. Now the map is looking a whole lot better. Before we do that, Kinshasa and Mumbai. So now we're 1 yellow away from being able to cure yellow, and that one's sitting right here, just barely on screen. And then we have Chennai and Los Angeles. So, Peggy's turn. Might as well go 1, delete or discard Mumbai. Then 2, 3. Finish cleaning that off. Huh. And then we'll just come back here for 4. Not any great move for Peggy Carter to make, but that one's not terrible. We have the epidemic, and we have Chicago. So we've pulled the bottom card off of here. Oof, we get Cairo. So if you remember from last time, the Cota disease cannot be cured or treated even. So we're at a point where it's a little bit of an issue. I'll have to get that quarantine next turn with Aurora, and hopefully that will be easy enough to do. I have a few other things I want to get taken care of, but that's high on my priority list. So Riyadh gets 1. We moved that back down actually because we should have been starting there. And Taipei gets 1. Good thing we got that cleared off. So that's it. So we will quarantine. First action, quarantine. Second, moving back here. Third, trading all of these in for a cure for yellow. And fourth, we might as well just quarantine Shanghai. Since we haven't bothered removing any of the cubes there yet, now we know it's in the top. See, approximately 13, 14 cards. So Los Angeles doesn't help us. Madrid is useful. And LA is actually not unuseful for us. Simply because now we need to eradicate a disease or build 6 military bases. We already have a disease cured, and there are 4 spots with yellow cubes, so probably should start trying to deal with that. Just looking at the options here. And we have to flip. Milan loses quarantine. Hong Kong gains another red cube. So we're back to Peggy's turn. pass over Chicago. Come down here through 4. We now have that under control. Not the best turn, but not a bad turn. And I was really hoping to get this card. So this will allow Peggy next turn to fly to Johannesburg. Reason why I was hoping to get that card, Chennai, it's a black cube, and Chicago gets a blue cube, is I can show this card due to the pilot ability here. So pilot ability reads, do not discard a card when taking the direct flight. Show the card and return it to your hand. So I'm showing Los Angeles, flying to LA for 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're only 2 spots, Bogota and Johannesburg, away from eradicating yellow, which is one of our requirements. Can add Sydney to the collection, and Khartoum. That keeps us right at 7. We have 6 over here, so we're all good. Flipping 2. New York gets another one. So we're playing with fire with blue right now, and Madrid gets another one. We will have to deal with that in a second here. However, I'm going to use Johannesburg to fly there for 1. Take care of that for 2. And now, looking at my different options. I don't have any super useful options right now. So, because I can trade knowledge, but there's nothing I need to really send to Aurora at this point. Using Delhi or Tehran doesn't get me that much closer to being able to help with blue. Either does Riyadh. So I think just use Tehran, fly up here for action 3, and then walk to Moscow for 4, I guess. That will set me up next turn to be able to deal with Milan. St. Petersburg, excellent. Gives us another blue. And Milan. That is awesome. That is all the blues we need. So, flipping. Shanghai loses its quarantine. And Cairo loses its quarantine. I was going to use an action to quarantine one of these blue cities, but I'm going to do that to Cairo since we cannot cure Cairo. So that's 1. Move here for 2. 3. Yellow is eradicated off the board. Every time we flip one of those yellow cards, nothing's going to happen now, which is awesome. To be able to do it that fast. So that's 3. Then I'm going to show Atlanta to fly to Atlanta. So that's action number 4. Of course, next epidemic, Beijing. Get rid of Baghdad. So we're pulling off the bottom. Oof. 3 in Washington. This is getting ugly over there. The issue we have right now is New York can outbreak to cause an outbreak in Washington. So that would be 2 outbreaks fast. Then you could potentially draw Washington to cause another outbreak in New York. And with how that all stacks up, we could then have an outbreak in Madrid, Montreal, and Chicago. We could lose based off of card polls right now. Madrid helps a little bit. And, not New York, Riyadh. Riyadh, it's good to have the Coda one covered. This is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have to go 1 to Tehran, 2 to Atlanta, 3 to Washington, and remove a disease cube from Washington. That slows down the chain reaction, though puts Peggy in a fairly dangerous spot. Algiers and Bangkok. That puts us over our card limit. Get rid of Sao Paulo. Puts us to 7. And good luck to me. Yes, Washington is good. Milan is not so great. But it's not one of the worst ones because we have 1, 2, 3 spots that goes. Grab the sticker sheet to take the level up to level 1. The biggest issue we're facing right now is we have 5 blue cubes left. That's bad. Let's just look through the discard pile quickly. So we have Washington, Milan, and Madrid in there. So that means Chicago and New York are going to be a most definite concern. So I'm not making it all the way to New York. I will quarantine that for 1. Go here for 2. Then 3 and 4. That gets us some blue cubes back. Prevents New York from outbreaking. Chicago's safe from outbreaking. We shouldn't have any outbreaks. Got to move that up. This turn. Oh, yeah, I should flip this one. Mark that we have that one done. Essen is a great pull. Chennai, not useful. We'll discard that one. And we'll discard Khartoum. Not extremely useful to have that one on the board. Flip 2, Hong Kong, which is nice. It's not a blue. And Shanghai, which is now an issue, but not horrible. Just double check the stream. Second here. Join myself live. Looks good. And that was Aurora's turn. This is going to be actually be an easier turn now for Peggy Carter, because I can send this one that way, discard Los Angeles, get down to 7 cards, and then I can simply go 1, 2, 3, take all those blues off of there, and we have a supply of blue cubes again, thankfully. Red. Nope, not red. Red. Yes. Let's get rid of St. Petersburg. Don't need any more blue cards. Taipei. I have to get back to red here quickly. And Cairo. This is its quarantine. Could be worse. Let's see. So for curing blue, seems like a priority. We'll quarantine Cairo for 1, move here for 2, cure blue for 3. I might as well have cleared the last one off for Chicago for 4. We have enough reds to cure, and that's all we have to do at this point. We have to get the reds into the hands of Aurora or Peggy. It's going to be faster, I think, to get them into Aurora's hands, because Peggy can just offload all those cards. However, let's see what we got here. Miami and an epidemic. So one downside is we've now hit the epidemics, and Manila gets 3. We've hit the epidemics in such a way that those yellow spots we cleared off don't matter at all. And we have Madrid, Milan, and Riyadh, and Shanghai, and Manila that are all issues for us right now. And we're drawing 3 of them. No funding. So Cairo loses its top. The Riyadh gets an outbreak, which then will cause Cairo to outbreak as well. Hopefully we'll have enough black cubes left, but I will move Cairo up on the chart to 2. Not Cairo is just a 1. I was looking at Algiers there. Carefully put the sticker back. Went better than I thought it might have. So, grab a small handful of these. What happens first is Riyadh outbreaks to everywhere connected to it, moving it up to 2. We would place the 4th one on Cairo, however it's already full. So Cairo then also outbreaks. Now, it may look like you could get stuck in a loop, however, Cairo cannot trigger Riyadh to outbreak since Riyadh triggered Cairo to outbreak. We still have 1 more card. Washington. Blue, thankfully. Weird to say that. This is tricky since it's Peggy's turn. Oh, and we forgot to move it up 1 for Cairo. Can we stop enough outbreaks from happening? It's 1 turn. We're going to try it. 1, 2, 3. Cure blue. We are set there. Get Hong Kong, doesn't matter. We get San Fran, does not matter. What matters is this flip here, because we have that cured first thing, assuming we don't go down in flames here. Hong Kong is safe. Madrid outbreaks. Here's where it's getting iffy. Madrid is connected to New York, causes that to lose its top. London, Paris, Algiers, and Sao Paulo. We are down to 7 blue cubes. Milan, outbreaks. I think we've done it. I can use that too, that I peeled off partially. So that's 2 more outbreaks, takes us up to 5. However, Milan goes to Paris, Essen, and Istanbul. Now Paris is really close to outbreaking, but is 1 short. Istanbul, I have to double check this in the rules. Where did I set those? Here. For an outbreak, I believe the rules state it has to be of a given color. So Istanbul is actually not ready to outbreak, even though it has 3 cubes, because it has 2 blue and 1 black. So then, that was flipping 3 cards: Madrid, Milan, and Hong Kong. So we are on to Aurora's turn. We are in Atlanta, even though red can be cured anywhere, and red is cured. Whew. That completes our mandatory objective. We've completed 1 optional objective. Our goal for March was to complete 2 objectives. We've managed to pull this one off. So before we wrap up, stick a sticker back down. Let's get rid of this win objective, this extra card, stick it in the box. Stop. At the end of your first game in March, before selecting your game and upgrades, open the following doors and draw this card. So we're opening up 21 and 22. So 22 is a game end upgrade that would allow us to put in permanent military bases. We built precisely 0 of those. So probably not going to be doing that one. The other one is character upgrades, and I will look at these to see what upgrades we want to have. We can make Peggy Carter a veteran, which would also make her a military character as well as CDC. Formidable. You may use a city card from an adjacent city when building a structure. And local pressure. When you are in a military base, you may quarantine an adjacent city with the quarantine action. We're going to use that one. I really like that one with Aurora, simply because, and this is her last upgrade she can have, but it allows her now to be able to, when she's in military base. Can I get that back off? Yes, I can. These stickers are starting to go a little bit. The game was originally printed in 2013? 2015? 2015 sounds more correct. So it's a little bit... if it's a early printing, the stickers are going a little bit. So let's look at our other game and upgrade options, as well as let's mark down our team, get our win on the calendar. Today's date is 5/29. We had Aurora Monroe and Peggy Carter. We won. So that means for April, our funding is still $0. Well, 0 cards. Let's look at the upgrades we can do, and I think let's do it correctly this time. Since we have eradicated yellow, we can now make it so yellow does not need to be cured in a base. We should also name yellow we'll just call it sad to go with Wimpy and Coda. And finally, We can increase a hand limit by 1. We could, let's do this. This is kind of the similar idea to the quarantine, but for curing diseases, or not curing, treating diseases. I'll put it on Peggy to allow her to treat diseases, and it's only once per turn. She can treat a disease in a city next to her. So like we would have been able to treat in New York, which would have been really nice. Now, we flip. We have our scratch off win bonus. Give me a second here. I will get that scratched off as well as I ever do. Not super well. Ooh, this is nice. Like I said, as well as I ever do. But our upgrade is to add 1 military base anywhere on the board, which is really nice. I'll put that on top of the legacy deck so we remember that. But that is a pretty smooth win, though that outbreak tracker was close, and this area over here is absolutely terrifying. We got lucky with nothing over here. So I think we did get a little bit lucky in terms of our draw. Shanghai would have come next turn. Outbreak. Manila. Outbreak. Taipei would have already outbroke from Manila's outbreak. So we would have lost if we had, yeah, that was a loss coming up had we not won that turn. So that was lucky, good for us. So, with that, going to sign off with another nice swig of Southern Tier, their 2X Smash. And just so you know, if you're watching this later or even watching it now, catching the tail end of this, the link to the Southern Tier Brewery is in the description below, as well as a link to Pandemic Legacy Season 1 on Amazon if you want to pick it up there. But with that, signing off, bottoms up.